this phone stands up on the DIY stand I made for it. I'm going to be eating my meal as well as I talk because I was just so eager. I was so eager to talk that I did not wait. So I may eat my $18 halloumi wrap as I talk. Fucking hell, they're charging an arm and a leg these days, aren't they? $18. Pfft. When she said the price, I just looked at her with that disappointed look. I went, 18? She said, yeah. I went, all right. I wasn't confident enough to say anything, but I gave her the look that suggested I was quite disappointed. $18? I mean, come on, there's no meat in it. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about halloumi wraps. This is my new space, and I have a pink wall, so it's going to be really fun. This is going to be my playground. I hope I can lean on it without getting paint on my back. So I am going to start off by talking about the definition of cool. Let's unpack that a little bit because it seems to me that nowadays the definition of cool is to act like you don't give a flying fuck about anyone and everyone. It's the I'm gonna strut through a crowd with a fuck off face, a face that says, don't you dare fuck with me, a face that says, I ain't got time for anyone's shit, and just no emotion. It seems to me that being cool these days is to show absolutely zero emotion and walk through the world like you are dead inside. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that seems to be the trend. And it's just interesting to kind of observe that as an outsider and see through the act, because to me, that's not cool. Like, to me, being cool is qualities of being open, being curious, being vulnerable, being kind. I'm not saying you have to go through life skipping and jumping and whistling, but like, it's just funny that we've all adopted this mindset that that girl that walks past looking like she's about to punch someone is really fucking slay girl, like slay. It's like, okay. I'm seeing a lot of that though. So like, is that really cool? Because that's all I see in terms of the cool world. And I just see through it because the truth is everyone cares. Like, you can pretend that you don't give a fuck, but chances are if you're a human, you might. Like, chances are you might actually care about what people think because we are social creatures and we do tend to come from pack mentality. So kind of acting like you don't give a fuck about what anyone thinks or says, and like you're operating as just an individual moving through the world. It's just, let's dig a little deeper with that. Because I see it as being a little insecure. And like, don't get me wrong, I have been that. I definitely have been. I have been the person that loved feeling super sexy and walking with a fuck off attitude. Definitely, that is a high. And sometimes you do feel really empowered in it, and that's great. But what I'm trying to say is we should like dig a little deeper to redefine what cool is. Because I'm starting to think it's a little old now. Because life is hard. Let's be real. Life is hard. The world isn't in a great way. We are not robots just yet. We still have feelings. We still move through the world with emotions. And Of course, by all means, remain guarded and, protect yourself. Absolutely. But like, I think we need to broaden our perspective on what cool is now. Because I think just being yourself and kind of being a little free within that to be more human, to me, that is interesting. I don't necessarily find someone strutting with the look that says, I'm about to get a butcher's knife and stab you, is that grandiose and revolutionary. So anyway, my take on being cool is just being comfortable with yourself, not having to put on a mask as you walk through the world, being a little bit more honest with where you're at, not in terms of even vocal, but just like in the way you carry yourself. Like you don't have to walk perfectly and look like this perfect version of someone that has no feelings, because it's just refreshing when you see someone just being a little bit more human. So I think being cool is being open, being curious, smiling. Like, I'm sorry, sue me. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I think being cool is smiling. I think being cool is friendly. I mean, what happened to friendliness? It seems to me, like, of course, when you're in conversation with people, they are friendly. Like, people are friendly, but it's more just that vibe, the aura that is very common these days to give off, which is the opposite of friendly. And I just want us to dig a little deeper with that, because a cool person is someone that's free. A cool person is someone that's honest. A cool person is someone that is just not hiding it. They just are what they are, and we need to see a bit more of that. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to park that because I'm tired and I think I've covered it all. Okay, I am going to be using most of this podcast to tell you guys about my honeymoon, because I haven't had a chance yet to debrief in a setting like this. And I really just want to talk about it uninterrupted for like 25 minutes because there's a lot to say. But I will quickly just say one more thing before I go into the honeymoon. I said there's like a lot of noise. I said, oh my God, big slam door. Oh my God. That really scared me. That actually really scared me. I genuinely thought someone was breaking into the space. That's how loud what is going on? Okay, I'm going to ignore that. I'm terrified for my life, but I'm going to keep going because, the showbiz goes on. Show must go on. Okay, OCD. So my last episode, I was touching on OCD. And I have to say this because this is important for the people listening to know. I spoke openly about the symptoms and the experience I had with OCD over the last however many years I've been an adult. And I hadn't spoke about particularly like the mouth sensation and kind of the hyperfixation on bodily sensations. I hadn't spoke about that in a while, in a long time, and I hadn't spoken about it publicly. And it felt very cathartic as I was doing it, and it felt really great and just intuitively the right thing to talk about. However, I really want to share with you guys what happened for me the next couple of days after doing that, because it was really quite interesting to observe and hard. Basically, the symptoms started coming back, and I haven't experienced them for like 3 years. So it felt very unusual to have like 20 minutes where I'm talking openly about what I experience, and then literally summoning those feelings, because the next day and day after, it was intense. Like they came back quite strongly. And it's just very bizarre to realized that talking about my OCD symptoms almost invites them. They're like, "Ooh, what? You call me? All right, let's go, let's ruin her life." But my relationship with mental health has drastically changed. But it was distressing. It was really distressing. It impacted my mood. I was really cranky with my husband in the nighttime. I didn't tell him what was happening because I didn't want to talk about it, but I was really snappy and angry at him very easily. And it was because I was fighting these thoughts that were trying to like loudly take over. And then the next day, like usually I can just sleep it off, but the next day I was on the phone to a friend and like it was a really fun chat. And like 10 minutes in, they started coming back. And at first it was very minor, like I was able to concentrate on the conversation, but then they just got more and more dominant. And it was really overwhelming. And when I got off the phone, there was a moment of like habit impulse to pull my husband over and say, fuck, it's back, and freak out and kind of bring him into my spiral. Or I've been doing a program called Dialectical Behavioral Therapy, DBT. It's like a practical skills-based group therapy, and it's revolutionary. I will do an episode literally just on this. But I had been 3 weeks into this course, and the skills that week were all about when you have something intense going on in your mind, distract your brain with focusing on your senses. So if there's really loud thoughts, name 4 things you see externally. Like right now, I see a brick wall, I see my water bottle, I see my keys, I see floorboards. What are 3 things I smell? I smell fresh paint. I smell timber. I smell like a clean, unmessy room, which is a very distinct smell. What do I feel? I feel like the denim pants that I'm wearing. I kind of feel heat on my back. I feel warmth in my feet. I did this for like 15 minutes and I managed to out-dominate the OCD. I brought myself out of the zoomed in space I was operating in. I zoomed out. Because yes, you might be having really bad thoughts and they might be really intense, but 2 truths can exist at once. So yes, those thoughts are happening and they're really strong, but the world is happening around you still. So it's what we choose to focus on that ends up getting our attention. Yes, these thoughts are really intense, but they also are existing as the birds are chirping, as the bus is beeping its horn, as the woman next to me is sneezing. Like, just training your mind to unhook and remember that we are an avatar operating in a very stimulating world, and there are other things that we can try to force our brain to focus on. And it worked. It really worked. And I feel stronger now because I managed to get through that flare up without my go-to response of telling my husband, bringing him into it, and us both crying together about the fact that I'm doomed. And then I could go back this week, last night, and say, hey, I use the skills and they fucking work. So anyway, I will do an episode where I talk more about DBT skills because I really want to share them with everyone. I love how I'm just like stealing the group therapy programs, the program coordinators inside. I'm like, I want to share it with you guys for free on this podcast that 7 people listen to, and like, watch me go far. Anyway, all right, honeymoon. All right, so we got married on the 15th of December and last year, 2024. We flew to Bali the next day. Sim and I haven't been great with organization. Usually it falls more on the woman. I mean, usually speaking, women are like a bit more like, hey, I've got this under control. I'm not. I'm like the teenage boy in my relationship with my husband. So he already is doing a lot. Like for our wedding, he made both the outfits. He made my wedding dress. He made his outfit. He made like all the tables the guests sat in. He was also working a full-time job as as a carpenter, which requires a lot of physical labor. He made a pergola, which we stood under for the ceremony. He did everything. He did literally everything. And I'm the one that's having a breakdown the night before the wedding, like literally pacing in the street at 11 p.m., chain smoking, because I'm stressed. Like, what are you stressed about, babe? Like, what have you done? Like, you've printed out a photo of an octopus for Pin the Octopus, which no one's going to play because you're not going to end up even following through with that. Like, what have you done? But anyway, I work differently to him. So we didn't really pack that much. And just to give you a little bit of context of our previous overseas trip, when we went to Vietnam and Bali post our engagement, we snoozed our alarm that many times the next day that we actually got to the airport 15 minutes before our flight took off. Like, they recommend to be at the airport 2.5 hours before an overseas trip. We were at the airport 15 minutes before it fucking flew, not even like checkout, like before it flew. And by the grace of God, there was delays in the airport that day and we managed to make our flight. But I tell you what, the woman, the counter woman behind the desk, she was not impressed. She actually was like almost not going to let us on just because she was pissed off. She was like, why? I don't get it. Why are you late? Like, did you have a delay in your last flight? I was like, no, we literally just woke up late. Okay, we fucking did cocaine last night. All right, bitch, I just got engaged. No, I didn't say that. I did not say that. But you get the memo. And then I had weed. I actually had like a queue of weed in my bag and we were like fully walking up to the security checkout. And I realized like moments away from going through the security checkout that I had a queue of weed. And you know when like the line keeps moving, like you don't have time to stop. So I'm literally chucking out all my clothes onto the floor. We've got like a Woolworths bag that we're flying overseas with. I'm chucking all the clothes out onto the floor, kicking them as I walk to like not stall the line. So like walking with the line, kicking my clothes on the floor, trying to find this queue of weed, find it. I'm trying to be inconspicuous and just literally just like throw it pretty much. Just throw it in some nearby bin, and it was okay. Everything was okay. So I didn't go to jail. Almost actually did go to jail on that trip. I nearly bought cocaine off a taxi driver when I had an alcohol relapse. Anyway, I'm not talking about that trip. I'm talking about Bali. I'm really eating up a lot of time here. Anyway, just trying to get you the context of how we are as travelers. We're pretty chaotic. So we get to Bali and the weather is terrible. Bear in mind, you guys probably know at this point, I have a real big climate change obsession. Like, I think about climate change every minute, every hour, every day. I dream about it. I have been this way since a very wee little lass. So extreme weather stuff really fucks with me. And like, we were already having really crazy weather in Sydney leading up to our wedding and our honeymoon. So I just wanted to go somewhere without rain. I was just like, please God, give me a destination which is sunny and I don't have to think about the world ending on my honeymoon. Please, 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 please. No, that wasn't going to happen. I opened TikTok up like 2 days before leaving to Bali, and it was like a full-on playlist of people saying extreme weather in Bali. Like, if you're flying to Bali, like, I cancel your flight. It's the craziest wet season we've ever experienced. Blah, blah, blah. Bali is fucking shocking right now. And so we arrive in Bali, pouring with rain, torrential rain. Rain makes me really depressed. Like, everyone has their triggers. Mine is rain. Mine is bad rain. It really sends me into a dark place. So I'm pretty much depressed day one of being on our honeymoon. And we try and find things to do. You know, we've got a best friend there. So that was wonderful having her. But like, we were driving through the streets some days in like literal flash floods. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like you could have swam in the water. That's how intense the flooding was. And it really wigged me out. And then on top of that, we got food poisoning, like bad food poisoning one day. And it was the day before New Year's Eve. So on New Year's Eve, I have COVID, I'm pretty sure. We also got COVID. Sim and I are like coughing and spluttering. We're not going out at all. We're just sitting in our like Airbnb watching movies. The next day, we're like trying to recover. And Sim says, oh, I'm just going to go get some food for us. So my best friend and Sim go get us food, me being the us, me just being waiting in the place by myself, blowing my nose, waiting for them to come deliver me food. They come, they say, oh, we found this cute little like street vendor and we got this nasi goreng from the street. I'm like, interesting choice to get when we've just barely recovered from food poisoning, but I eat it. And we get such severe food poisoning that I'm out for like 5 days. And Sim has to get an IV drip because he's so sick, he can barely move. So we're now pretty much in a prison and of our Airbnb, vomiting, shitting, pale, not fucking. Our entire honeymoon, we probably fucked once. And that was when I got pregnant. So dealing with that as well, being pregnant, not knowing. It was intense. So anyway, I want to tell you about this IV drip. So we hired a woman to come to... So Bali's like, you like anything you want. You're like, I kind of want a 24/7 nurse to come and like shoot me up some vitamins and give me an oxygen tank and hope for the best. So she came. She was like 3 hours late. We were just waiting in bed, just constantly texting on WhatsApp, like, hey, when's this woman coming? Like, feeling really shit. We also could only afford one IV drip. And so Sim was getting it because he was more sick. It's fair. He was more sick. And I'd also spent a lot of money on shoes. So I said, it's fine, baby. You get this one. I will sacrifice myself. So she comes, she's like 3 hours late. We're pretty pissed off because we're like, it's just, give him his IV drip. She puts the catheter, I don't even know if it's the catheter, I'm bad with these terms, but she puts the needle in his arm. The whole IV drip falls. She like trips on the cord. The whole IV drip falls onto the floor. The insides of the IV drip, like the saline solution or whatever, is like going mad on the floor, like leaking everywhere. Blood is coming out of Sim's arm because the needle's now fallen out. So it's like literally like his arm spurting blood. The saline sprays on the floor, spurting blood. I'm freaking out. Like I am not happy. I'm secretly messaging like the team that sent this woman being like, you need to give us this for free. Like we are not paying, like trying to sort out the business side of things, even though, it's none of it's my money anyway. I'm like, I will not pay for this. So she's like running outside to get a new IV drip. Sim's trying to hold his arm in place, like stop the blood. The blood's like gone on the bed sheet. Oh my God, it was so intense. And then we can't open the front door of our Airbnb because like the wood like it's like the door wasn't made properly, so we couldn't even open the door. So she's like a frail little woman. She was like a little woman, and she's got her leg up like that on the door, and she's trying to like pull the door open. And she's like, oh, you okay? Like, you seem so stressed. I was like, yes, I am very stressed. I'm very fucking stressed right now. Give me my husband, his IV drip. I'm gonna faint. So we did it. And then the food poisoning just continued. And I will tell you this, like on day 5, I'm just like, I think I've eaten something else by this point, which is like topped up the food poisoning. So now I'm just like, the vomiting and diarrhea is just like leveled up. And it was like 1 a.m. and I'd been on the toilet since about 4 p.m. And I was like, kind of like SpongeBob, like a dried out sponge at like white ghost. And I said to Sim, you need to go. Like, you need to go get me some tablets. Like, you need to fucking help me because I'm not doing well. So he goes down the street and he comes back with these tablets called Laxing. I said to him as I'm on the toilet, because I can't get off the toilet, I say, baby, like, this sounds like laxatives. Like, it's called laxing. He's like, no. The woman sold it to me. Like, it's definitely for, it's to help with diarrhea, not to create diarrhea. And I'm like, that's really odd, because like the label makes it sound like it's laxatives. He's like, no, trust me. The woman told me. So he's like, oh, she told you to take one, but I reckon just take two because yours is really bad. This is just a testament to how much I believe Sam and how much I will do anything he says. I really should start listening to myself more. I take 2 of these fucking lethal tablets. I am on the toilet till literally 9 a.m. All you could hear, okay, I would go up to the bed. It'd be about 2 minutes, and then you'd hear me just like walking down the steps, the sound of the bathroom door creaking, and then me on the toilet doing diarrhea. This was our honeymoon. You should be hearing like orgasm moans, not diarrhea. So then at like 9 a.m., we have to go to the medical center because I'm like really sick by this point. And I'm like in a bed hooked up to wires. They find out I have a parasite. I was delirious by this point, so like everything was funny. Sim and I were just hysterically laughing the entire time. They probably thought we were on drugs. I could not stop laughing. Everything made me laugh. And then we're going to the bathroom because I've got to do another test, a stool test. Fucking hell, this is our honeymoon. I've got to go do a stool test. I open the bathroom door. The nurse who has been treating us is literally squatting above the toilet, like undies down. Like I saw her pussy. And she's like, oh, and like, like gets up and like closes the door. I was just like, oh my God, I want to go home. I'm homesick. And then we go into the bathroom and we see like 7 locks on the door. I was like, I get you. Like, I feel you. That's something I would do, but also like weird that you're a nurse and that you didn't think just to like lock the door when there's like 7 locks, but whatever, no shade to her. Cause I would literally do the same thing if I was a nurse. It was just very funny and very chaotic. And then it went back to like torrential rain. And, I actually was thinking about, I think I've said this, I definitely have said this in other episodes, but I was thinking about death every single day. Not out of wanting to, believe me, not that, out of just like preparing. Like I was so sure that I wasn't going to make it out alive. I have very extreme fears around natural disaster stuff. And I was just like, anytime we were stuck in heaps of traffic, I was just thinking any minute, like there's going to be a volcano, like we're going to die. So I actually bought a book called Japanese Death Poems. This is on my honeymoon. I bought a book called Japanese Death Poems. I barely read any. I think I read like 4 pages and I was like, all right, get the gist. Yep. It wasn't too insightful actually. It was just like, okay, these people writing poems before they're about to die. It didn't really take away my fear. But that's just a testament to how much I was thinking about death. And then I'm going to go over with this one because I really want to continue letting you guys know what this journey was like. So then for the last week, we are staying in this jungle, which is further out, really further out. It was beautiful. Like we had just watched this film called Blink Twice with Zoe Kravitz. She's a director. And it was like kind of this island eerie vibe of like a cult. When we got there, it felt very similar to this film. Like it was a beautiful sanctuary, like literally in the jungle, like overlooking just this massive cliff, like mountain. There was like a meditation temple on the top of the cliff, like full on kind of temple, abandoned temple vibe on a cliff. I'm not good at describing this kind of stuff. And then the family, like they seemed really wealthy. He had like really cute kids, which I loved, but then like kind of eerie vibe. Like they'd all kind of do karaoke every single night, and like all the workers would get really drunk, and like no one spoke English. And, you know, sometimes you just be walking past them and they just seem so hungover and like sharpening like a huge knife, just like a huge knife. You don't know why they're sharpening that knife or for what reason, but you'll just say hello or like hello, and they just kind of stare at you and just continue sharpening the knife. I was like, whoa, so weird that I watched this film like a day before we stayed at this place, because it was just giving the exact same energy, but they were lovely and we were not harmed. Anyway, so our friend, our best friend who was living in Bali, she had a lovely friend. We all have friends for days. So she was from the Netherlands and she had mushroom drops. And when we're staying at this jungle sanctuary with like a fucking sacred temple, like a meditation temple on a cliff, I was like, Sim, we need to do mushrooms here. Like, I am not leaving this place unless I do mushrooms here. Like, we're not going to make the most of it unless we do mushrooms. Wasn't actually being honest with him about the fact that I was thinking about death every day and secretly really wanted to do a mushroom trip because I wanted to get over my fear of death. And I heard that if you did mushroom trips, you could come to terms with death. So that was a big part of the agenda, but I didn't tell him that. I just said, wow, this is like the nicest place. It's like a beautiful sanctuary. We need to fucking do mushrooms here. So, we get the mushroom bottle, and our friend from the Netherlands tells us to take, like, she says 3 droppers. She says it's an old batch, so it might not be as potent, so you can even do 3. I am assuming she means 3 full droppers, like full to the brim, full dropper. She is thinking, we think she's saying 3 single drops, tiny little single drops. That wasn't clarified. So we're in our jungle sanctuary. It's fucking pouring with rain, like torrential rain, like end of world rain. Sim and I get into the biggest fight. Like, I was weaning off 3 different medications. I was pregnant. I didn't know I was pregnant. My hormones were all over the place. I spent the last week, for a large part of the last week, crying a lot. Real big wounds were coming up, particularly around like body image and physical appearance, which wasn't something that I'd really given much thought of for the last couple years. So it was just like so intense to kind of have these wounds like so intensely resurfacing, like in an unexpected way. Like, I'd look at myself in the mirror and I'd see like a 55-year-old woman looking back at me. Like, I had full-on dysmorphia with how I looked, and I just hated everything about my appearance, and it was very full-on. And so I was crying a lot. But this particular day, our fight started at the monkey forest because Sim was being a bit boisterous and wanting to like walk into the forest away from the path and just approach a group of monkeys and start feeding them nuts. And I said, Sim, they look really scary. They actually look really aggressive. I feel like we should just stick to the route instead of going off course into this dark forest area with like huge baboons. But he wanted to, and he kind of was acting as if I was just being that naggy girlfriend, like, babe, don't touch the monkey. But like fully, it was scary. Like, this monkey was like massive teeth, like gnarling at him. And at the last moment, one of the monkeys jumped on Sim and fully ripped the bag of peanuts out of his hand. It was scary. I said, Sim, if you didn't have that bag of peanuts, it would have fucking ripped you. And he was just really annoyed at me for ruining the fun. He thought I was being just a neggy Nancy. But as we were walking back, I saw a sign that was like, do not stray off path, do not look the monkeys in the eye, and do not go up in groups of monkeys. We'd done all of that. So I was ticked off, but I didn't really carry on. But the mood was off between us because he was pissed off at me and I was just like pissed off at him for not understanding. Then we like drive over a bridge on our Vespa, and Sim wants to park the Vespa and have a look at the drop on the cliff. Like, oh, this is like a cool bridge with like a tiny railing. Let's like do spitballs off this bridge. I'm thinking about death every day. I'm like, please, Sim, just give me one day off thinking about it. Like, that can't happen anyway, but just don't make me stand on a bridge with like a really low railing and like look over the edge, because all I'm thinking about is falling off it and dying. So then he thought I was killing the vibe again, because he was like, oh, here she is again being like, don't stand near the edge of the bridge. Don't stand near the cliff. Which, to be fair, was very valid that I was saying that. Like, we can go sit in a jungle. We can go to a cafe. We can have a coffee. Like, I just don't want to spitball off this bridge. So anyway, we got into a big fight, and when we were going back to the jungle Airbnb, he told me he didn't want to do the mushrooms, and it was our last night. So it was our last night to do it, and that for me just sent me into a state. I literally think I ran away. Like I was so emotional. I was so upset because I kind of knew that was coming. I just had a feeling he would do that. And for me, I really needed this mushroom trip because I really felt like I needed some comfortability around the notion of dying. So I ran away and just like sat by myself in a enclosure of trees and just cried for a while. Then I came back to the bedroom. Sim has the pillow on his head. Like he's not doing well. He's over it. He wants to go home. He says, I just want to go home. I'm like, well, you can't just yet because our flight's not till 2 days. So you're just stuck with me. But he couldn't accept that. He wanted to go home. He was just fucking over it. And so I'm trying to like make us okay. But he's just like, he's off it. He's off it. So I thought, okay, we're never going to do our mushrooms if this is the vibe. I'm just going to go do them. So as Sim's just like in a fit with the pillow over his head, I walk outside, I go to the fridge, I take a full dropper of the mushrooms. I pause, I think about it, then I take a second full dropper. I come back into the bedroom and I say, baby, I just did the mushrooms. Do them with me. It makes his fury 10 times worse. He is fucking livid. He's like, why? Why would you blah, blah, blah. The mushrooms hit me within 5 minutes. I'm not kidding you when I say within 5 minutes, the walls are breathing. And I'm begging him. I'm like, please, baby, please come on this with me. Like, please, like I'm actually scared. Like, please come. I go out, he's not, he's furious. He doesn't want to look at me. He doesn't want to speak to me. I go outside, I sit on a step and look out to the wilderness and it's full on. It's full on. The jungle is moving. It has this energy. Like, I was bracing myself for a big trip. And so I go back into the bedroom and I actually sound like Marilyn Manson. I don't know. I sound like a cult leader. I keep saying, baby, come on this trip with me. Just like, what are you going to choose? Fear or love? What are you going to choose? Fear or love? Like, that was my mantra. Fear or love. Like, it actually was creepy. I'm like, come with me, baby. Do the mushrooms. Do the mushrooms. And he's like, he's really overwhelmed. He's like pretty much having a panic attack because he's like, why would I do mushrooms right now when I'm feeling so fucking shit? Like, that's like the worst thing to tell someone when they're in this state, do mushrooms. But I knew the only way you're going to get out of this mood is if you take like 20 drops of mushrooms. Like, trust me on this one, you're going to have a good time. It wasn't working, my vibe, my cult vibe of like choose fear or love, come on this journey. So I just stopped. It was like, you know, in acting class when you have to change objective, I realized I just have to change objective because this isn't working. Pushing him into doing this is not going to work. So I ended up just cradling him. Like, it was really intense. He was having a very emotional experience. I think we were just like literally experiencing a bit of PTSD from our trip. So I'm just cradling him. Like, at this point, I'm just like, he's like my baby and I'm just rocking him back and forth. And like, I am full on tripping. Like, I actually went to past life memories, I think, because I kept having this reoccurring memory of being at this house and talking to this man. And I can't really say much about that reoccurring memory because it was just more visual, but it was almost like Sim and I had been there before. Like, it was just like we've been here before. I don't know. We weren't speaking for about 30 minutes, but in my mind we were. I was just rocking him. And then we had sex and the whole thing was just a little bit even confusing. I was like, I don't even know what's happening really. Like, fucking good sex, really good sex. But then it's like, then he's like naked and swimming and I'm just watching him jump in the pool. Like, everything was just very like glitchy. And then he ends up doing the mushrooms with me. He came round on his own terms. He did a full dropper. Thankfully, he didn't take 3 like me. But we had the best trip in the ending. It was beautiful. He was like, you were right. Thank you. Thank you for whispering in my ear, choose fear or love. Thank you for forcing me to do this, because it was exactly what he needed. And we were more in love than ever before. It was like medicine for us. Like, we came back to each other on a soul level, and we were just staring into each other's eyes, and we were like calling each other magicians, like alchemists. We were saying side by side, we're just side by side for eternity. It was cute. And our bedroom was like a picnic basket. Like, it had a very picnic basket roof. And so we just felt like we were floating in the clouds in our little picnic basket. And picnic basket, picnic basket, picnic, 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 picnic. I just like saying that. It was great. And then we watched this anime in the nighttime and ordered like 70 decadent donuts. And then the next day we prepared to leave. I don't think I really got over my fear of death too much, because on the way home, like on the way to the airport in Bali, I was thinking about a volcano erupting for most of it. It wasn't until I was at Perth Airport that I could really take a deep breath. And I tell you what, I was very chipper at Perth Airport. I was like, whoa, it was sunny outside. Like, I was like, yeah. I spent like $35 on like a spinach and feta roll, but I was like, whoa, I'm home. And then we arrived back in Sydney, and that night it was the most intense storm that I had experienced in the back flat, because we were staying in like a literal tiny shed essentially, and it felt like the walls were going to collapse because the storm was really intense. And I was again in fear paralysis. So the mushrooms didn't really help with my fear of natural disasters. And I actually had to like tranquilize myself with like 4 melatonin tablets just to fall asleep, because I felt so unsafe. And meanwhile, I'm pregnant. Like, oh God, my baby went through a lot in trimester 1. Holy shit, she's a tough girl. She's a tough cookie. She's still going strong. 40 mushroom drops, extreme food poisoning, extreme emotional breakdowns. The list goes on. So anyway, I'm 10 minutes over, but I am really happy that I shared that with you guys. That was really fun going on that journey. We actually still can't look at any photos or videos of our honeymoon. We physically can't. I actually think we do have a bit of PTSD from it, because we still can't like look at anything. Like, I've got all these videos that I made from our honeymoon. Nah, we did not look at them. We did not look at any photos. That's it. It's too much. We do not want to be reminded of it. And we will never go to Bali again. I don't think we'll ever go. RIP Bali. You're a magical, magical spiritual place, but I don't think I can do round 2. So that's it. I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Remember that chaos is just a part of life, so embrace it. I love you all. This is from me and my pink wall. Stay tuned. There'll be a lot more fun additions as we go along this journey together. I love you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.